27-21 in this game. Let's go over the grades from this Missouri victory. Starting off with the Tigers, Chuck Hicks, the highest graded player at 82.3. Brady Cook, the quarterback, at a 76.2. Armand Membu, the offensive tackle, at a 75.5. Christian Williams at a 72.5. And Jordan Harris at a 72. Let's go over to the Eagles in this game. The highest graded player was Thomas Castellanos, the quarterback, at 80.4. Donovan Iziriaku, who has been an awesome player for the Eagles really throughout his entire career, at a 77.5. Ozzie Trapilo at a 73.4. Max Tucker at a 67.4. And Cam Arnold rounding it out at a 66.6. Dalton, for you, what was the stat that really told the story in this game?
So coming into the game, you remember in our preview, I was talking about how much pressure would Tim Lewis apply to Brady Cook. And it was a lot. They blitzed on 54% of Missouri's pass plays. It was a lot. They brought pressure. They made Cook beat them from the pocket with his arm, quick decisions, right? And it wasn't so much that he beat the blitz as so much as he just didn't cave, right, when he got it. But when he got opportunities against the standard rush, he excelled. He had a 90 passing grade when Boston College didn't blitz, and that was the difference in the game. 11 of 13, 146 yards, and total on the day, a 2.18 second average time to throw, his fastest since week 5 of last season. Boston College blitzed early. They got out ahead early. They had the run game going. They had time of possession going, right? Mm-hmm. And Kirby Moore must have said to Brady Cook on the sideline, listen, get the ball out. They're bringing heat. They want to speed you up. Speed up with it. You have no time to wait. You don't have time to run around and do any sort of improv. You need to get rid of the football and get it to all of our athletes. And he did that. And again, I just think I like the way Missouri finds ways to adjust. It's not, and Luther Burden was great in this game, right? But it wasn't pretty. And this game was maybe even closer than we thought it would be. And they got behind 14-3 early. It was a lot of adversity for Missouri in this game. But they had a plan. They had a plan B. They even had a plan C with the run game I'll get into in a second. I was really impressed with Brady Cook and just the poise under early adversity and a lot of blitz. 54% blitz rate, that's high. Yeah. And again, I was so curious to see. BC doesn't usually blitz that much. At least through the first 2 games, it was somewhere in the high 30s. I was like, are they going to bring it? How much? Again, like I told you, I don't think you can cover. Most 99% of teams, I don't think you can just line up and cover Missouri. Yeah. That's not a thing. You have to go get Brady Cook, and Cook won the day, man. I mean, the adjustments that him and Kirby Moore made. And then, again, when BC didn't bring pressure, he had time in the pocket. He made the right throws, especially in the intermediate game, and he beat him with his arm. I thought it was a really good game. I know it's not the highest graded game of Brady Cook's career, but I thought working through that adversity and working through all the schemes that BC was throwing at him, I thought it was a really good game for Cook.
What I was so impressed by was that what you just mentioned right there was that when he was blitzed, he got the ball out fast. But usually when you're blitzed that often, you just speed up your entire game. So when you're not blitzed, you still go speed. You're like, okay, I got to get out quick. When he was not blitzed, like you said, he was like, oh, I have time now. Like he sat back there a little bit. That was so impressive to me that he just never sped up his game all the way. Where it's like, hey, I understand when they're coming and then when they're not coming. And he did a great job in that game, just really understanding the game.
And the adjustment, what you saw a lot last year when he was blitzed, is he would take off running. Yeah. He wouldn't throw through it. He would take off running. This adjustment to the blitz now makes teams think about, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't go after him like that, because now if he's going to throw through it to all these receivers, now we've got one-on-ones and more open zone windows on the back end, and Luther Burden and Mookie Cooper and all these guys running through us. And that's what happened eventually, right? He just start finding those guys in those intermediate windows. So I think Cook showing that is going to take a little bit of heat off of him in future week.
Dawn, so that was your breakdown in our preview was, hey, blitz Brady Cook, and that was what happened in the review. Now I'm going to do the same thing in my preview. My whole thing was, hey, stop this Boston College ground game, and Missouri did just that. Boston College averaged 2.3 yards per carry in this game, 0.6 yards before contact. We just mentioned before, Kansas State quintupled that. Kansas State was averaging 3 yards before contact per attempt, and Boston College only averaged 0.6 yards. This is the worst before contact per attempt number in 7 games for the Eagles. And after the contact, they only averaged 1.8 yards after contact, which is the worst in 6 games for BC. Dalton, the Eagles' leading rusher had 25 yards in this game.
It's not the blueprint.
That's not the blueprint. This is a Boston College team that wants to run the football. They came into this game with the highest run rate in the country at 67%. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. And I'll get into the most impressive part in a little bit.
And they were ahead 2 scores early, so you would think game script says, okay, now we start leaning on them. But no, Missouri just shut it down.
Missouri came up big on run defense. And I was a little worried, and I was like, hey, listen, Missouri's top 20 in the country in yards per contact, yards before per attempt allowed. But I was like, they played Murray State and Buffalo. Let's see what happens against Boston College. No, it's legit now. This Missouri run D is like, okay, now they just shut down a really good ground game that Florida State could not do at all a couple weeks ago. Really, really impressive job by the Tigers in this game.
Absolutely, on both sides. And I think contrasting with that, we talk about all the weapons, especially on the outside all the time. Burden and Cooper and Johnson and everybody. We saw everybody on the outside. But I thought what got Missouri back into this game was their ability to balance themselves out, too. And both of their running backs were really, really good in this game. I think, look, they lost Cody Schrader, and Cody Schrader was a hammer. He got downhill, and he wanted to put his shoulder pads into linebackers and do that sort of thing. You've got 2 different backs now. Nate Noel is really emerging, the App State transfer. 22 carries for 121 yards, and it's his vision and his quickness that's a little bit of a change-up from what they had last year with Schrader. And Marcus Carroll, too, got a little bit more quickness than Schrader, runs hard himself, 11 carries for 51. Those 2 guys are going to be a huge key to this season because Missouri not only is loaded, but they're loaded and they can be balanced. And they got balanced in this game. I think they were punched in the mouth early, but they got back into it by methodically working back into it. They didn't force anything over the top. They didn't try to just just run go balls with Burden or Johnson to get themselves back in one shot. They waited for Castellanos to make a big mistake with the interception, right? But they got themselves back into this with balance, with run game, with quick passing. The fun stuff is going to come. They're too loaded for it not to, right? And again, Missouri through their first 2 games and now 3 games has not played their best football. Not even in the 2. It sounds crazy because they won the first 2 games 89-0. They are playing like B+ football by their standards. They could be playing a lot better. There were moments in this game where they found it, especially. I just love the balance. They're one of the few teams in college football right now that I like. We know they have balance. They can run and pass, and they can do anything they want. And Kirby Moore can dial up anything he wants anytime, right? And if Cook is going to beat the blitz, then you've got another dimension where it's like, man, and even Cook with his feet. Look, I think he's an underrated runner. He's not the best athlete in the country, but he gets enough done with his feet where he's a threat. They got 9-10 different threats in this offense, but they know how to balance it, run and pass when they need to. So I just, again, we talked about them all last year. How he wasn't even a nominee for the Broyles Award is insane to me.
Like 80 nominees.
I think it was like 61 nominees.
He wasn't even one of them.
Kirby Moore does such a spectacular job balancing all of his weapons and knowing where he needs to go. Look, what's funny is the big play where Burden had, the 45-yarder, his first catch.
Yeah.
Right before that, I don't know if you saw, in our group, Dave Solfaro, right before that catch goes, where is Luther? Like, do they remember they have him or what? And immediately, 45 yards. There it is.
Yep, there it is.
Just there it is. At any time.
That touchdown was disgusting. Did you see the touchdown?
Yeah.
Oh.
At any time, they can beat you on the outside like that. But I think a lot of it still, Kirby Moore wants to set it up with the run game. And in this game, especially, I think I've told you, I see a lot of coaches recently who they'll get down 14-3 early, even in the second quarter, and they'll start to lean away from the run game. No, Missouri leaned more into it. He said, we need to make a statement that we can do this too, as opposed to just, okay, we're not going to come out here and just lose the rushing battle and get run over in the trenches. We're going to have balance, and Brady's going to get his, and Burden's going to get his. That's part of what makes this Missouri offense so dangerous.
Listen, we're giving a lot of love to Missouri right now, and deservingly so. We got to give some love to Boston College.
They're a good team. They're a good team. They went in there against the number 6 team in the country and had them on the ropes for a minute.
And they fought their tails off in this game. And Dalton, the most impressive part of this game was actually a member of the Boston College Eagles. It was the highest grade player, Thomas Castellanos. Because if you told me pregame, hey, BC's going to average 2 yards per carry, I'm like, oh my God, Missouri's going to win by 40 in this game. No, they lost by 6. And the reason was Thomas Castellanos has improved so much as a passer.
Yep.
I've been blown away by how much he's improved this year. We mentioned coming into this week, he had the highest passing grade in the country, but we also said, hey, it's a little skewed because he only has like 35 dropbacks, and a lot of it's like off play action and stuff like that. We also said, hey, you put him in obvious passing situations. That is a clear advantage for Missouri. Well, he had an 87.9 passing grade in this game. 3 big-time throws, 2 turnover-worthy plays. Both of them were interceptions. But Dalton, outside of those 2 picks, he only had 2 other throws the entire game that earned a negative grade. And he had 11 throws that earned a positive grade in this game. And mentioned obvious passing situations. On 3rd or 4th down, with 6 or more yards to go in this game, he had an 85.6 passing grade. He has improved so much. Last year, he was 127th in the country with a 57.7 passing grade. But now with Bill O'Brien there, who's known for being a quarterback whisperer, he's second in the country with a 92.9 passing grade. So Thomas Castellanos, all the credit in the world to him, because if they did not have him play as well as he did in this game, they would have got blown out of the water. But Castellanos kept them in this game, and yeah, I know they lost in the end, but with that ground game doing nothing for BC in this game, they were still in it because their star quarterback has improved so much from what he was last year.
They're a real threat to every ACC team they play, and especially his legs, first of all, the scrambling too, it's just a constant stressor on a defense. You could even see, I mean, look, that's an SEC front seven, and there was a lot of plays where he's just running around him like nothing. He's the best athlete on the field. So you complement that with improved passing, and you mentioned it. Generally, when we've talked about Boston College in the last year or so, it's get them behind the chains, right? There's like 3rd and 8 is just not their down. If 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 is going to become their down, you have a real problem on your hands.
In a wide open ACC? In
a wide open ACC, they're just all of a sudden they look like another team that it's like, you can at least feasibly be like, they can win some games. They could win some big games around here. And if it's going to be centered around him as this kind of like Boston College version of Kyler Murray sort of thing, then, I mean, look, he was really good yesterday. He was not the reason they lost this game. I mean, Missouri, at the end of the day, Missouri's probably just a better football team, and they found that groove getting into the middle of the game. But no, Boston College, they're very good. I wouldn't be shocked if we see them ranked again very soon.
Boston College had them on the ropes, and Dalton, Missouri is ranked higher than any ACC team. Yeah. So that stands to reason Boston College can play with any ACC team.
Playing the way that they've played through these 3 games, even though they're 2-1, they can play with anybody in the ACC easily. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, really impressive performance by Boston College, but Missouri survived in a 27-21 victory.